With the new year approaching, people may be considering a career change or even starting their own business. And if that seems daunting, a franchise might be something to consider. Franchise units growing over 13% over the past 5 years across industries, including health and wellness, personal care, and tech. Like any business, though, franchises are not without risk, and they can be expensive. It can cost between $10,000 to $1 million to open up just one store. Nick Powills is a publisher for 1851 Franchise. It's a publication for franchise news, and he also serves as a board member for The Melting Pot, which is itself also a franchise. Nick, thanks so much for being here. Give us sort of the big picture view on the franchise industry right now, what kind of growth it has seen, and what kind of people are franchise owners.
So the positive is the franchise industry tends to work opposite that of the economy. So when the economy goes down, franchising goes up. Now, not every brand follows this trend, but for those that do, it opens up opportunities for those looking to get into franchising to actually purchase that brand. The reason being, when there's turbulence in your job, you tend to start looking at alternatives as to how can you build wealth or cover your salary. And therefore they look into franchising. So as we head into potential turbulence in the early parts of 2024, that's positive. And the other side of that is the presidential election, which creates more turbulence. So for those looking to get into franchising, 2024 will be quite attractive to those that are looking to make a career change.
And so, Nick, if you're thinking we might hit some turbulence in 2024 economically, are there certain kinds of franchises, Nick, certain sectors that you would think of as more defensive?
Yeah, let me answer this in a few ways. So first would be your head, your heart, and your gut. For anybody looking at buying a franchise, those are your greatest tools that you'll have when evaluating an opportunity, because success is ultimately up to you. When you buy a franchise, you get the framework and you get to skip ahead and you get to use an operating system that's already in use. So there is positivity in that, and it shortens the timeline it takes to go from a small business to established. But if you don't put the heart and the hustle and the attitude, the right attitude into any franchise, you're going to fail regardless of what you buy into. Now, there are safer segments, like education has been really stable forever. If you look at any list of top franchises, education's always at the top. They talk about recession resistant or recession proof ones, like haircut brands where people are still going to get their hair cut. Those are interesting, but really you have to align with your passions with the financial bandwidth that you have, and then you buy into that type of brand segment. But the only way you're going to get success, or the only way you're going to build wealth, is if you have that mindset and you have that grit and hustle and attitude when it goes into franchising.
Well, and you talked about the financial wherewithal to start to buy franchise in the first place, right? Which I mentioned at the beginning. There is a range, of course, but it's definitely, it goes up from 10,000. So you do have to have some funds in the first place to do this.
Yeah, I mean, yes, there are definitely people. I talked with a franchise owner today who didn't have a significant amount of wealth, bought into a restaurant brand, but the reason they were able to do that is they secured financing through a community bank that they built a relationship with. So there are pathways to build up equity or build up bandwidth to go buy into a franchise. However, my viewpoint is the rule of three. If you can't afford three of these, and that's through financing, it doesn't mean you need all the cash. Not like if you're going to buy $1 million investment, you need $3 million in the bank. It just means roughly 20% of that you would need $600,000-ish to buy three of them. I'm not saying go buy three tomorrow, but what that does is you put the cash into one, you get unit one open, you're not worried about a rainy day, which you're going to have that in business, and you've stored away some cash so you can scale. The only way, and really the only way you can make money in franchising, is if you scale your business and you have multiple locations. If not, you're just replacing your salary, which may be fine, but it's not going to build the wealth that many people want.
And Nick, what are the advantages and disadvantages, in your opinion, to buying into a franchise versus, let's say, owning and operating a traditional small business?
Sure. I mean, I am a small business owner. I've been that way since 2008. And it is lonely. There's not a club of me to talk with. There's not others that I can rely on. All the mistakes that I'm going to make as my own as the leader of our company. In a franchise, you're in a club. Like, at least you're surrounded by other people that are going through the exact same things you are in business. And if the franchisor has set up the culture the right way, you're able to lean on them for advice and guidance and hopefully help you shortcut some of the things that comes to small business scale. On a negative standpoint, like, you are investing a portion of your life savings into a business that you have little to no control over. You can't say, I'm going to change the logo, or I'm going to add a hot dog to my ice cream menu. There are restrictions, and you're in it for most of the times a 10-year relationship. So it's not like you can just quit, and in a world where quitting seems so much easier than actually sticking it out. So you're committing to it. So there are definitely benefits. The other negative is you are going to pay a royalty, which means the value of your dollar is roughly 90 cents versus the value of a dollar to a small business owner is $1. So there are positives and negatives, but if you pick the right brand, if you're diligent, if you call existing franchise owners and ask them a very important question of, would you do this again? And they say yes, and they're scaling, then what this can do is it's a tremendous potential wealth builder if you do the right things and take the right steps into franchise ownership.
Nick, thank you so much for joining us today. I know our viewers appreciate that insight.
Yeah, thanks for the time. Really appreciate it too. Happy New Year.
You too. You too.